Uh, I'm I'm a bit nervous after hearing Anil Kumar Sar's expectation as to how I'll be contributing to
No,
the
no, no, you don't have to worry about that because I briefed sir today morning. It just went for 2 to 3 minutes. So there's very little information on that. So you can go ahead with what you planned.
yeah, it's still in a comfortable environment. ASAP offers that environment, so I can make mistakes here. I hope. Yeah. So good morning, all. So I have wanted to be a blogger for a really long time, and I started my first blog when I was doing my graduation. That was back in 2008, and I wanted to write consistently. Uh, I have looked at other people who do that, and I have wondered how they do it consistently. Some people were consistent with one post in a month, 1 week in a month. Uh, whatever be the frequency, some people used to be consistent, and that is something I wanted to do, but it was always difficult. I have created one blog after another, uh, and none of them lived for more than a couple of months. I always doubted myself. I didn't know if I was doing the right thing. I didn't know if I was helping people or I was wasting their time. And I also had some other confusion, and which I have started to realize is very common among people who want to create something or produce something. And that is the worry of uh, telling something of great consequence, right? When you are creating something, when you are writing something, when you are creating content and sharing it in public platforms, you have this concern, if I'll be making something of some bad consequences, because you are evolving, I am evolving. And when you look at something that you had written some time back, I always feel that is not good, that can have some negative consequences. So I always check my Facebook memories, and I delete. That's the first thing I do in the morning for a really long time. I check my Facebook memories and delete posts, and that also has some other reason, which I'll come to after some time in a short while. I'll tell you why I started the Mentor Winnie blog. It's not a really popular blog. I would say it just has got a few dozens of people who follow it regularly. It's still not a big thing. It's not a viral blog. None of my blog posts have gone viral. And when I say that, I am not disappointed. When I say that, I am just being factual. That's not my disappointment. So, who inspired me? I would like to tell it as a personal story, because I don't want to give advices. I would just like to tell it as a personal story, but you can, if there's a takeaway, you can take it away. That's it. I recently came to know about this um, author and the guru of modern marketing. His name is Seth Godin. Seth Godin. We'll be mentioning his name again, and he is someone I consider my mentor as well. And what he has done is he has written, he has maintained a blog for almost 18 years, since 2002 to now, writing every single day without missing a single day. So that is almost 8,000 blog entries. He has 8,000 blog entries to his, credit, to his, kitty. Um, and he always encourages people to maintain a blog. He has a couple of reasons, and that those reasons have convinced me to start a blog as well. And I consider him as a model and mentor. That's where the inspiration comes from. You can check out his blog by visiting this link. I'll just type it on the chat window. It's basically Seth's.blog. If you search his name, Seth, he'll be the first person to come up. So we don't have to worry. Seth's blog. Yeah. So he's the inspiration. And some of the things that I have done and I'm still doing is exactly what he is doing. I might be having some extra things, but yeah, I'll be sharing basically a lot of things that what he did, and plus how I took it. So why most of us want to start a blog or a vlog, or to start drawing pictures, doing crafts, start singing, uh, go cycling. We always have dreams, passions like these. But hello. Uh, yeah. Okay.
You can continue from this.
Yeah. Thank you, son. Thank you. Yeah. So the biggest reason why most people don't start is the feeling that we should always have a big start. We should start big. When we launch, when we start an institution, it should be inaugurated by the best celebrity in city, in the state, or in the country. Uh, it has to have the best amenities in the office building. We always have this pressure to start big, and that's exactly why most people don't start. And this is one takeaway that I have got from listening to Seth Godin, and what he always says is start small and start now. It's basically a distinction: small versus big, and now versus later. So when you face this distinction, always go for small, from the small versus big, and now from the now versus later. So just start now, and just start small. Write a couple of lines, write just a few things, write silly things, write trivial things, write boring, dull things in the beginning. Just start from wherever you are. We need to start from somewhere, and that's exactly what I have tried to do with the blog. If people read it, a lot of people might not find the post interesting, and when I started, I wasn't worried, I wasn't concerned about that. I just thought I'll just start writing, and I needed to start somewhere, and I just started then and there with whatever I had, and whatever I could do. So that's one thing that I did with the blog. And once you start,
sir, excuse me, can I ask one? Actually, what subject you are selecting for this?
Yeah, I'll sorry for not mentioning that. Yeah. So yes, sir. So the basically what I am writing in the blog is related to, I call it a life blog. So what I write in the blog is usually generally related to life, culture, self-development, education, parenting. So it's basically life. How to look at things differently. It could be marketing sometimes, it could be parenting sometimes, it could be relations sometimes. So basically, I just try to give my own perspective, which is not always my own perspective. I might have got it from somewhere else as well, but I usually try to uh, uh, go against the mainstream perspective sometimes, not intentionally, because I am aligned in that way. Yeah So right, so that's what I write about. And once we are started with something, what we can do is take one step at a time. That is exactly what it means when I told my friends that I will be writing for 500 days consistently, which that promise, I would like to apologize for that when I'm on this platform, that I didn't keep that promise. I'll be talking about that while later. I have missed a couple of days in between, but yeah, I made a commitment, and I have tried to stick to it as much as I could. So that's exactly what it meant. Whatever little I had to say, whatever simple thing it might be, I would just do one thing. I'd just share whatever comes to my mind on each day. So it's a small step, but after 500 days, it's for me, it's really huge. I'm not sure about others, but for me, it's really huge. It's bigger than most books that are available in the market. It can be a 300-page book after, or a 250-page book after 500 days. Whether the content will be good enough or bad, that's a different thing, but at least there will be content. Yeah, so one small step at a time, one post every day. So the commitment could be different. The commitment could be to post one thing every week, one post every week, or one post every month. If it's video, it takes more effort, it takes more time, it takes more resources. So if you are creating a vlog on YouTube instead of a blog, you might not be able to make one video per day. But there are people who have done that, like Nas Daily. If you follow him on Facebook, he has done that for 1,000 days, 1,000 days. Yeah, so one step at a time. And so on some days when you sit to write, you will feel that it's not good enough. It's not going to help people as much I want to help people. People might not find it really useful. But the thing is, we never really know how things are going to help, how much it is going to be helpful, if it is going to be useful or useless. We are never going to know it completely. So what we can do is just share it, just do it. Once you have started going on the track, just ship it. That's what Seth Godin calls it. Just ship the product. Just ship it. Don't wait for perfection. Don't wait to make it the best in the world. Just put it in front of the public and let public, accept it or reject it. So just ship it. That's one important another takeaway that I got from Seth Godin. And talking about a blog or a vlog, it's more than it starts from you yourself, or I myself in my case. It's more about me in the beginning. Ultimately, even though I ultimately want to serve people and help people with what I am doing, it ultimately starts with me. It's for my own growth that I am trying to make an output. Because what is the equation of efficiency? Is there anybody from engineering background there? The equation, the formula for efficiency, anybody? Output and input. It's output versus input, I guess. So if we are to be efficient, if we are to be effective, the ratio of output and input should be good enough. It needs to be good. What we do a lot of times is we read, we watch a lot of videos on YouTube, we take a lot of input, and a lot of times we don't give back enough. When I say that, it's not because we are we want only to consume. It's not because that. It sometimes it's because we don't value ourselves enough. We sometimes think our output is irrelevant. What we can share to the public is not good enough. But a good starting point might be to think that it's for your own self. It's for your own benefit. It's for my own sake that I am writing things. I am sharing, creating video. Because when you produce an output, what happens is input, process, and output. That is how it happens. And the most important part is process, the processing part. How do we understand if the process part is working? There is no way other than coming up with an output. We can think the case of a computer, right? So when there is an output, it's clear the process has happened. So if we need to process, if we need to think properly, and if we need to take the best from the input that we have received, we need to come up with an output. So in that aspect, writing a blog every day or at least once in a week can be really helpful, because we will be internalizing a lot of things that we read and that we get from the outside. Knowledge becomes our own knowledge. But if we are just reading and when we get a time to speak about things for the first time, we'll be basically sharing their idea. But if we have an experience of creating an output, there will be process in between. That stage will be there. So that is one way to check if we are processing. So output is really important in that aspect. And then now from yourself or myself, we are going to the other. We are going to going outside. It's about when you create a blog, when you create a vlog, when you create craft, when you make art, in whatever case it is about giving first. if you don't, if you expect, if you expect that others return what you are giving, if you expect for others to reciprocate it, you are not actually giving first, you are giving second, because the expectation comes first. So we need to give first, we need to contribute, and we have to do it consistently for some time. And if we are giving value to the world will start valuing us, because the value that we share becomes our value itself. So but it's not with the selfish wish that we need to be creating value. It has to be uh, kind of an unselfish. And when I listen to Seth Godin, it's somewhat like a spiritual kind of thing. But he's not that much of a religious person, but yeah, it sounds really spiritual. You need to give first, contribute, you keep on writing. So one thing that happened when I started writing about relationships and all, I didn't get a lot of responses. It never went viral, but there are certain points where I felt really happy. When I was writing something about relations, family, and all, somebody replied to the WhatsApp status where I had shared the blog post, and she asked me, "Do you have any tips for anger management?" So, so what happens is, when you consistently do things, uh, when you give first, and when you keep on doing it, when you do it for a really long time, what happens is you build trust. People start to take you seriously. People know that you are not going to go away. People know that they can trust you. If you don't have that output, if we don't have that blog out there, if we don't have that blog out there, how are people going to trust us? When we go to a shop, there will be a showcase, we look at things and we buy it. But as trainers, as mentors, as somebody who would like to contribute value to the world, where is our showcase? We need to have a showcase. When people ask you, what do you do? How can I trust you? Is there anything that we can show them? Even when we conduct good training programs, great training programs, a lot of times we have only testimony. People might have given good words, that we might have that, but where is our work? Is our work there in the public domain? Can people see it? If they don't see it, how can they buy it? So it's about showcasing. It's about giving to the world and sharing it in the public. Uh, and when another thing, as I said earlier, that the going for the big launch, that's a mistake that people usually do. A lot of people can't afford to do that, going for the big launch. And what happens with the big launch is that you risk a lot of things. You risk money, you risk effort. If it fails, you lose everything. And a lot of people, considering our economic backgrounds and the capital that we have, we can't afford that. So the best way is to go for a small start. And how Seth Godin puts it is, he calls it a smallest viable audience. Can you find 10 people whom you can help? Can you find 10 people whose problems you can solve? Start with those 10 people. You will have a lot of friends, and some of them might care for what you do. Just share the link with them. Don't ask them to like the page. Don't ask them to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just ask them to read it and tell me whether you liked it or not. Don't like my page. Don't invite. I'm not inviting you to like my page. It's not a. I'm not putting a burden on you. So when you share things with 10 people who care for your work, what happens is, maybe they like it. If they don't like it, share it with another 10. So share it with a few tens of people, and see if you can find a total of 10 people who likes it. 30 people, 40 people, and 100 people, and see if a total of 10 people likes it. And if a total of 10 people likes it, that means there will be more people like those 10 people, because that category actually exists. So if there are 10 people, there could be 100 people. If there are 100 people, there could be 1,000 people. But zero is not even a number. So we can't go as low as zero, but we don't have to go as high as 10,000 or 1,000. We can start with 10. So go for the smallest viable audience and solve their problem. So what I currently do with my blog is there is some loyal readers, some people who consistently read. Some people, whether they see it on my WhatsApp status, on Instagram, the screenshots, or on Facebook, or on the website itself. There are some people. I hope I just guess that number is not even more than 20. It's such a small number, and I started just 1 month back, and I am not even trying to make that number big now. I started with 2 or 3 people. It has come to 20 people, but as I said earlier, as I said earlier, it's about my growth for one part, and it's about the first 10 people that I want to serve. So I am serving them more loyally. I am trying to, because they could relate to me. I know what kind of work I can do even more, so that they'll relate to me again. So I'm just trying to get them relate to me. Those people, just those people. I'm going to try to serve them more and more, and I just hope maybe there will be more people. And even if there are nobody else, there is nobody else who's coming to like my blog. That's fine. 10 people is fine for me. So that's something that I am doing with the blog. And
Sir,
yeah, and
one thing, sir. When
yes, sir.
people respond you negatively, how do you deal with them?
Actually, that there was a point when I used to get hurt, but it was even before I started the blog. It was quite a long time back. But at least for the last 3-4 years, I am not sensitive to that kind of response. If people are, if they are non-believers, if they just hate the work that you do, they are not your audience. You don't have to even interact too much with them. You have to respect them as people. But if they are believers, if they are supporters of the kind of work that you do, you have to engage with them, and you have to see, you have to empathize with them. I think I have to understand what their concerns are. I have to understand what the criticism is. But for a huge part, I am more right at this point. I have more conviction in my work. I just feel that I need to have a good conviction, great conviction. Even if people criticize, sometimes you just have to keep doing the work. But yeah, I need to know when the criticism is factual or not. Yeah. So I have just a couple of more points, and then we can just have an interaction for the I guess for the last five minutes. So and as I said earlier, why I delete my Facebook memories every morning, and why I don't think I will be deleting my blog ever. I'll keep my blog forever, but I'll keep on deleting my Facebook memories every morning. What could be the reason? The reason is nothing but I used to be a reactive person on Facebook. I used to abuse people who had different political opinions, the other political parties. I still have a particular political belief, but earlier I was different. I used to write in a really reactive manner to a lot of things. So when I see those things today, I just feel that I have been contributing a lot of negativity into the world. So I have a politics, I have a belief, I have an ideology. So what I do with it is I go for a positive agenda. I have started to work proactively. I'm not criticizing, I'm not throwing bricks at people. I'm just presenting the idea that I have. I am not reacting, I am proacting with my blog. I'm acting for something. I'm not acting against anything. So it's like saying, stop deforestation. Instead of that, you could say plant a tree, or yeah. So keep trees there instead of saying don't cut trees. So going in a positive way rather than a reactive way. When you react, you just hit a lot of people, and everybody wakes up, and it's total chaos. So I have decided to be proactive with my blog. And the last important thing that I have to share is, and I also think this is the most important thing: show up every day, no matter what. This is something I failed to do when I started a communicative English training institute at Kottakkal. I knew that I wanted a batch of 30 students and I could survive. I was not a really ambitious person, but when I gave advertisements, when I advertised in newspapers, and when I didn't get enough calls, I just lost interest and I stopped even going to the office consistently. And then when I look back at it, at my experience, what I realized that if I had just shown up at the office every day, there would have been one or two inquiries, and I could have had one-on-one classes at least, which I am doing now successfully. It's not that difficult. I could have just survived on one-on-one classes, even if I had just one small office room. And just like it is now, I could have done it back then as well. But I just didn't show up. So just show up, just go to the office, just open the blog, just write a blog post every day, no matter what, even if you have headache. Um, and even if things are not going smooth at home, just take 5 minutes and write the silliest post possible. And when I say the silliest post, I would like to share just Seth. This is from Seth Godin's blog, and I'm going to share his first blog post ever that he had written back in 2012. Uh, yeah, it's in the chat window. Yeah, it's in the chat window. So I'll also read it for you. So this is the first blog post ever that Seth Godin, the person who has written 8,000 blog posts and who is known as the guru of modern marketing. This is the first thing that he had written back in 2002, almost 18 years back. And when we look at it, I just feel that the blog that I wrote in 2009 is much better. I mean, in some way, it is at least of the same level. And I could have actually kept that blog. I didn't have to delete that blog. I could have kept writing back then. I didn't have to stop then. Because look at the first blog that the person who has 8,000 blog posts in his entry had written 18 years back. I'll just read it for you quickly. Boring. That's the title. I was stranded today. I had to spend hours in Nyack, just over the border from New Jersey. So I shopped. Actually, I tried to shop, but I failed. I spent 2 hours at the mall and it was boring. Having done most of my shopping online lately, I had nearly forgotten how boring it is. Every merchant alive needs to read Paco Underhill's book, Why We Buy. The only store I saw that didn't bore me was the new Apple store. If you haven't been, it's worth a visit. Sure, it will be boring soon. So as the title says, it's actually a boring post in a lot of ways compared to the kind of value that we want to consume. I just hope my video isn't stuck. Is it? Yeah. Okay. So that's the thing. So this is. I would just like to share this one quote as well. One more quote. Dare to be dull. Dare to be dull. I don't exactly remember where I heard it. We are pressurized by this idea of having to appear interesting. We always. My video is stuck. I thought so. Is it stuck? Is my video stuck?
Yes, sir. Stuck.
Okay, just a second. Okay, should I rejoin?
No, Vinnie, it's okay. I think since we have your session is at the end,
yeah, it's coming to an end. It's coming to an end.
Fine.
So showing. I'll just send it to the background and reopen it. Let's see if it works then. Yeah. Okay. No problem. I guess. Yeah. So dare to be dull. We are always pressurized by this idea of having to appear interesting. People want us to be interesting, so we yield to that want or wish. But we don't have to be. Sometimes we can be dull. Just share whatever you can. Just share whatever you can do right now, and start from there. All that we need is a small starting point and a series of steps that will take us to something really big, something huge, something bigger than what we as individuals are. So that's what I'm hoping to do with my Mentor Winnie blog. I didn't want to say a lot of things about the blog because I didn't want to. Yeah, I just felt awkward. So I just talked about my principles and my inspiration. Yeah, with that, I would just like to conclude there. I'll just share my blog's link. Oh, yeah, you might have got it, but
Yes.
in any case, I'll just share it. I'm not asking you to like it. You just can read it, and if you like it, like the blog, you can do whatever you like with that. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for listening to me, and thank you, Asap and Manu sir, for this wonderful opportunity. I would just like to say this thing as well, that this is the greatest thing that has happened because of the blog so far. If I had not written that blog, this wouldn't have happened. So now I know this is a reaffirmation that I am doing something huge, even if it might appear small to me. Even if I am taking small steps, this has already become huge to me. And thank you so much to ASAP family.